Now, you notice, as you look around, that all of us are Christians here. We all believe in Jesus. We've all been translated into His kingdom. We're all believers here this morning. But you notice that we're all still here physically, sitting here in this physical world. Now, it used to frustrate me as a Christian early on that He didn't take me to heaven right then and there. Why are we still here? He says we've been brought into a new order. Wouldn't life be a lot happier for us if we were already over there? Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I tell you what, people that are on the other side, they don't want to come back. And I guarantee you, when you're there, you won't want to come back. But we're here for a reason. See, over there in heaven, by over there, I don't mean to be using these kind of quaint euphemisms. In the spiritual, in heaven, there is no, there aren't the challenges and the problems, and there is that new order already functioning automatically there. But here in this world, there's actually two different orders going on at the same time. There is an earthly order of things from which, listen, we've been translated out of. And there is a new order of things we've already been translated into, yet we're here. See, what God has in mind, I believe, is for that new order of things to be functioning here in this world. That's why Jesus said, when you pray, He said, when you pray, say, Thy kingdom come, Thy will be done on earth, as it is in heaven. It is in heaven, and He wants it done on earth. And the way that happens is as we begin to understand what this new order is and to participate in it. You see, we get frustrated sometimes because we have to rub shoulders in the world with people who are not Christians, and it kind of rubs us the wrong way. But think about it the other way around. We have an opportunity to touch people in the world with something they've never seen, never contemplated before. A new order of things, a new way of doing things, a new view of things. Now, in the last week when we talked about this, I focused on one element of it. Jesus said, my peace I leave with you, not as the world gives, give I unto you. Making a distinction between the world and its idea of peace and we as Christians and our idea of peace. What I'd like to talk to you today for the remainder of this morning is another aspect of this new world, of this new order of things. And that has to do with our relationships with one another, our interrelationships. We have there's a new order of things that we have been brought into. You know, really the challenge of the Christian life is the growth, and the Christian growth just basically amounts to coming to a realization of this new order that we're part of this new way of doing things, this new kind of life. And it's not like we're on some kind of a trial and He's going to assess us and give us a test about it. He just wants us to understand it. So, number one, it will benefit us in our lives. It's more beneficial. You know, you don't have to wait till you get to heaven to have a heavenly life. You can have heaven on earth if we'll walk in the light of this new life that He's given to us. But number two, as we walk in that light, it changes and touches those around us. You can see this clearly in the life of Jesus. Did you know the people that liked being around Jesus the most were the sinners and the down and outers? Evidently there was something that they got from Jesus, from being around Him, that they found beneficial. Do you think that's fair for me to say that? See, I think the same thing could be and is true for us too, to the extent that we understand and walk in the light of this new way of doing things, have our minds renewed to it. So, I want to talk about our relationships, interrelationship, in this direction, between one another. And I'd like to start today with this in Matthew's Gospel, chapter 5, and verse 38. These are familiar words, but I just want you to think about them in the context of what we're talking about. Matthew's Gospel, chapter 5, verse 38. Jesus is talking in this passage about, we call this the Sermon on the Mount, and He's introducing this new order. He calls it the kingdom of God. And it's kind of shocking and surprising because it's so contrary and different than not only than His hearers were expecting, but even for us today, it's a radical kind of life He describes here. Verse 38 says this, You have heard that it hath been said, An eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth. But I say unto you that you resist not evil, but whosoever shall smite thee on thy cheek, turn to him the other also. And if any man will sue thee at the law, and take away thy coat, let him have thy cloak also. And whosoever shall compel thee to go a mile, go with him twain, that means two. Give to him that asketh of thee, and from him that would borrow of thee turn thou not away. You have heard it hath been said, Thou shalt love thy neighbor, and hate thine enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. Do good to them that hate you. And pray for them that despitefully use you, and persecute you, that you may be children of your Father, which is in heaven. For he makes his sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the just and the unjust. That's a good thought right there. So we just should count on that. He sends rain on the just and the unjust. So whatever we are, we're ready for some rain to be sent here. Yeah. So go back to verse 38 for a minute. Not only, listen to this. This is a surprising thought here. Not only is this life that he's describing contrary to what the world expects, this is even contrary to what was going on in the Old Testament. You know, when he said here, look at what he says in verse 38. You have heard that it hath been said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. By the way, do you know where that was said? It wasn't just people wandering around out in the countryside said that. That was in the law, it said that. In fact, 3 different places. I just want you to see them briefly. Phil, give me Exodus 21:24 real quick. I just want to point these out to you. Exodus 21:24 says, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. That's like saying, you hit me, I hit you. Is that what it says? Retribution. Is that fair to say? Yeah. You knock my eye out, I knock your eye out. You break my tooth, I break your tooth. You cut off my foot, I cut off your foot. You think I'm right? Yeah, I think that's what it says. Okay, not just once. Leviticus chapter 24, starting with verse 19. Leviticus 24:19. And if a man cause a blemish in his neighbor, as he hath done, so shall it be done to him. Stop right there. That's saying, whatever somebody does to their neighbor, whatever he does, it gets done back to him again. Sometimes parents are like that with their kids. Don't bite him, I'll have him bite you. No. That's not right. But that's what it's saying, is it not? Isn't that what it's saying? If you do something to me, I get to do it back to you. Next verse. Verse 20. Breach for breach, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. As he hath caused a blemish in a man, so shall it be done to him again. You hit me, I hit you. Okay? But wait, that's not all. Deuteronomy chapter 19, verse 21. Deuteronomy chapter 19, verse 21. And thine eye shall not pity. That means don't have any mercy. He means no mercy. That's what that means. This is to be done without pity, with no mercy. But life shall go for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, in a merciless way. That's what it's saying. Now, let's go back to what Jesus, I just wanted you to know, I just wanted you to see, why does Jesus then say in Matthew chapter 5, verse 38, he says, you have heard it that it hath been said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, but I say, resist not evil. Why does he take what was clearly stated in the law 3 different times and then basically said, you've heard this, but I'm saying something different? Because he is bringing a new order of things. He is bringing a new order into the world. It's not the same thing as what was before. He's bringing a brand new order of things. In this new order of things, there is mercy. There's forgiveness. And not only that, it's kind of a radical kind of mercy and forgiveness. He says, resist not evil. Whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn to him the other also. If any man will sue thee at law to take away thy coat, let him have thy cloak also. And we just read all those things a moment ago. And then down verse 43. You have heard it hath been said, thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemies. But I say, love your enemies. See, that's not natural. That's not a part of the natural world. It's not common. And see, that's why you have to have that life of God on the inside of you to even contemplate this. Because most people are not prone to loving their enemies. Most people. And by the way, you know why it said that back there in Deuteronomy and Leviticus and what was the other one? Let's see, Exodus, Leviticus and Deuteronomy.